So that's what's unfamiliar to us in the video world, these gigantic chips, these shallow depths of field. What's familiar to us from this EX line of cameras? Well, if you've seen our introductory video with Joe Shimizi from Sony, you'll know Sony did not try to reinvent the wheel or revolutionize the camera. In fact, they took a camera that was extremely familiar, extremely successful, the PMW-F3, and simply added a gigantic chip to it so that you can achieve that incredible depth of field. So you're still recording in the XDCam EX codec, 420, 8-bit, 35 megabits per second. So if you've been editing in Final Cut Pro, in Avid, in Edius, in Adobe, any of these editing systems using this XDCam EX footage, your post-production workflow can be identical. It can be extremely identical. Check it out, Jose, right here. We've got two S/S slots. Now you'll remember, with two S/S slots, if you're using 32 gig S/S cards, that's 100 minutes per card. If you're using 64 gig S/S cards, that's 200 minutes per card. So with two cards, 400 minutes, you're going to be shooting all day. You're going to be shooting all day. What else is familiar about this camera from the EX cameras? Well, it's this battery right here, the BPU-60. This battery is going to run your camera for 200 minutes, all right? Something odd that's going on, something that we're not really used to, Sony is no longer shipping this camera with a battery charger. Why, you might ask? Well, the answer is actually right here. It's this 4-pin DC input. All right? Sony knows that you're going to be using your prime lenses on this camera. You're going to be matching this camera up with your F35s and your SRW900s, really the big boys of video production. So you're probably going to be using Anton Bauer batteries. You're probably going to be using a 4-pin power supply. You don't have to get into, the proprietary kind of little DC in jacks. You can use anything that's going to mate up with this 4-pin power supply. You can use IDX batteries. You can use those Chinese batteries that seem to last very long. Anything that you're used to in a professional format, 4-pin XLR, just like you're used to, run your camera all day long. That's pretty awesome. Okay. Let's move. There's really a lot to go on here, so I'll apologize if I'm speaking too slowly. By all means, if you're on a desktop computer or if you're watching on an iPad, definitely utilize the chat feature just to the right of the video window if you're not watching in full screen. Text in your questions, chat with us. We've got a lot to say about this camera, but what we'd really like to do is answer your questions. So, moving on. Can we go to Jose for a second here? Check out this back panel. You'll notice I'm coming out SDI out. So this is HD SDI. You could also down convert to SD SDI if you really wanted to. Just to the right of SDI output, HDMI output. Very familiar. This is going to allow you to use your consumer grade HDMI monitors. It'll allow you to use certain things like the new Sidekick or the Nano Flash recorders. This will allow you to record a higher grade output than what you can record on the card. You can record a 422 10-bit HD SDI output. On the other side, if you're going not from the right but to the left of the SDI out, you notice you've got a dual link SDI output right here that says A and B. Now, dual link HD SDI eventually is going to give you 444. 444 output. Now, at the moment, you can only get 422. In April, Sony's going to be releasing a software upgrade. It's going to give you that 444. But at the moment, you can get 422 60p. So 422 1080 60p out of your dual link HD SDI output. That's pretty phenomenal. There's a lot going on in this tiny little camera. Even though all this stuff is going on, it's still only a 24-watt power consumption. Very easy on your batteries. Going to let you get all that time coming out of these BPU-60s. Right below the HD SDI output is a video output. Standard def composite, so if you're working with an old school Steadicam guy, a jib operator, check this out right here, Jose. So right under HD SDI, we've got composite video output. Also important for your multi-camera shoots, timecode in, timecode out, so that you can keep everything synced up. Genlock in, definitely going to need that if you're not on a self-genlocking switcher. And finally, check this out, remote right here. You can bring in your RMB 150, your RMB 750, and get the full, I think it's called the 700 series. Anyway, there's a control language that Sony's paint boxes use. This camera makes full use of it. Totally awesome. What have they done for us in audio? Well, as you're used to, dual XLR inputs, very high quality audio. It ships with a stereo microphone. The stereo microphone has two XLR inputs, which is really cool. You don't have to find yourself like a 5-pin to dual 3-pin XLR cable just to get your 2 channels of audio. And even better than the input is the output. Sony's given you left and right line output for RCA audio. Very, very handy when you need to sort of run audio out when you're on the set. Somebody needs to monitor, you know, if you can't take something embedded off the HDSDI, you can take an analog line level output right here to whatever you need to record to. A couple of convenience features. This is really important because when you're doing film style shooting, you got to connect a lot of things. You got to connect, you know, your gigantic monitors. You got to connect your motors and this and that. Well, for convenience, Sony has given us. Let's go to Jose here for a sec. Sony has given us 1, 2, 3, 4 quarter 20 jacks. When I remove the little rubber casing, you'll notice a quarter 20 mounting hole. You can stick an Israeli arm in there and put anything you want on the top of it. Pretty handy, pretty handy. All right, again, now that we're at the front of the camera, that awesome PL mount for your Zeiss lenses, for your Arri lenses, for your Cooke S4s. And you can't just have the lens on there. You got to have a badass follow focus. So that's pretty sweet, I think. Also an optical filter wheel. If you stay on Jose right here. All right, if you come back to Jose. Optical filter wheel, so we can go to, I believe it's 1/64th, all the way up to 1/64th. It's got a nice little button to help you stop exactly where you want to stop. Now, this is not a digital ND wheel. This is actually optical filters that are changing. And just above the ND filter wheel, 5600 button. Very handy if you don't, excuse me, if you don't always have time to capture a white balance. If you're walking from inside to outside, you hit your handy 5600 button, and it sort of gives you a quick boost to approach the correct white balance when walking from inside to outside.